sleep. I couldn't even roll over on my right side.
Davis had colon cancer. He underwent surgery, and his doctors believed that they were successful in removing all the cancer. But to make sure, they put Davis on chemotherapy once a week. Mary Gardner works with patients going through chemo and knows their fears.
They're going to lose their hair, their family, nobody's going to love them, that they're shunned, nobody wants to sit with them out in public. They're not women, they're not men, you know, and that's not true. They're human beings. They were born human beings. They're going to die human beings, you know. Because you're diagnosed with cancer, it's not going to make you less of a person.
When it comes to the big games,
There are many different kinds of chemotherapy, and some of them do not cause extreme side effects. Davis's doctor says the ball player is lucky.
Things like nausea and vomiting and hair loss, lowering of your blood counts, which are things that many people associate with chemotherapy, are really not likely to happen frequently with this treatment program.
Well, actually, it's not that tough. I get my chemo intravenously, about 2.5 hours. I sit there, watch a movie, eat a sandwich, drink a Pepsi, and wait till it drip through, and then I get a little Band-Aid and go home.
You have said the worst thing about chemotherapy is it's boring.
It is.
No side effects?
I've been blessed to the point that I haven't had many side effects.
But are you different? Are you lucky? Are you Superman? What's going on here?
No, I don't have a cape. You know, I'd rather be blessed than lucky, you know, so I consider myself blessed.
We generally tell patients that they're probably going to be able to go back to work during the chemotherapy, that they will feel reasonably normal for most of the time that they're receiving treatment. But most of the time there, you're talking about sedentary jobs, a job sitting at a desk. You're not talking about going out and trying to hit 95-mile-an-hour fastballs or climbing the fence to make catches of long fly balls.
But if his doctors weren't thinking about playing ball, Davis was. Just 3 months after his surgery and in the middle of his chemotherapy sessions, Davis came back to play.
The off-speed pitch, and it's a hit for Davis.
He's taken something that for most of us, probably all of us, would be one of the worst things that could ever happen to us. And he's turned it into something very positive, not only for himself, but for other cancer patients, I suspect for his teammates, and certainly for those of us who've had a chance to get to know him.
Not only was he able to play,
Stolen base.
he was able to play well.
Yeah, the coming from Avery. Davis with a driven in the air. Forget about it.
You see somebody, like I said, able to go through what he's went through, take chemo, and come back the very next day and play a sport. And he acts like he's trying to just go on with his normal life. And yeah, it is an inspiration.
your counts have done very well.
Even though they've never met, John and Joyce Beatty share a bond with Davis. John has cancer. Once a week, he's hooked up to an IV to have a chemical cocktail pumped into his body to fight the tumor in his lungs. While the treatments seem to be helping, he pays a price after each session.
They take a lot out of him. You know, he's just so tired. He just, it's hard for him to get up and do anything.
For at least 2 days, you have a tendency to be chilled, feverish. Sometimes even if your fever isn't that high, you feel feverish. And you're just tired and drug out. At least I am.
Sometimes it's hard for him to go up and down the steps. But he's a fighter, and he's doing much better now.
Even during the chemo treatments, the Orioles hat never leaves John's head.
Got a double. Way to go here.
He and his wife are die-hard fans. And if the O's are playing, they're in front of the TV, rooting for the home team and rooting for Eric Davis.
To be honest with you, I was hoping that everything would work out for him and all like that, but I thought that if it didn't, that he'd probably, go quick, than say 6 months or so, because if cancer gets a bad hold on you, just face it, it don't take long for it to take you away. Like I said, the man's a fighter, and he proves that every day when he goes out on that ball field.
Into left field, down the line, off the bat of Davis.
While fans are thrilled that Davis is back on the field for their run at the championship, cancer patients and their families take special pride in his accomplishments and maybe feel a little more protective of him.
I just don't want him to hurt himself out there playing. You know, I feel like he's kind of fragile.
Cancer patients across the country are watching what you're doing and cheering you on. What does that mean to you?
Well, it makes me feel good, but what it does is it allows me to draw strength from that. People that's been praying for me and telling me that they went through what I've gone through and they're still here, they did it 12 years ago, that's what motivates me and keeps me going. So actually they're helping me more than I'm helping them.
It may not matter who's helping whom more. David Ryan was diagnosed about the same time that Davis was. No one was more hopeful when number 24 came up to bat last night with a chance to win the game.
Tying run at first with 2 out. To the left side for Vizquel. The force out at second, ball game.
And while the baseball fan in David may have been heartbroken at what happened, the cancer patient knew that just walking up to the plate was a big win.
The strength that Eric Davis has demonstrated has had a huge impact on the men who play beside him. That part of the story in a moment.
This is ABC News Nightline.
The game's on TV, and sometimes when you're away from the team or you're injured, you start to feel like you're not part of the team anymore. And we just wanted to let him know that we're still thinking about him, and he's still very much in our thoughts and part of our team.
We were really struggling early on, and he came in, had this life-threatening thing taken out of him, and came into LA dugout and cheering us up. Instead of us cheering him up, he's there cheering us up. It was unbelievable, and I think that's the kind of person he is. Didn't look at himself, looked at his fellow men on the team.
It's all about camaraderie. It's all about togetherness. And that's the way this team and this organization looks at things. You know, it's like a family atmosphere. They do anything they can for you.
We play for 8 months, and we play every day. We have very few off days. I mean, you get to know each other real well. And certainly a guy like Eric that came in and won the hearts of not only the fans here, but his teammates, to come back and do what he's doing is unbelievable.
It just says something about the guy, and it says something to you that if this guy can go through chemo when he's all weary and tired afterwards and still comes out and wants to play this game, then we're totally healthy. Then we should have enough energy left to go out and play. So it's an inspiration to the rest of us.
He was struggling his last 20 at-bats before he discovered the tumor. And to think that he was actually out there playing, you know, with cancer, you know, sort of blows you away. I remember I was reading an article about Lou Gehrig when he took himself out of the lineup, and they were saying how they had hoped that when the warm weather came, you know, his muscles would start to loosen up a little bit, you know, not knowing that he was dying of a disease. And you know, sort of the same way with Eric. You're like, you know, he was out there playing with that, you know, so he's as tough as they come.
You know, we hear all the time about the cold, heartless world of big-time sports and big money players being in it just for the money. You're spending the day here at the ballpark with Eric Davis and all of you. It kind of blows that image.
Well, maybe that image is wrong. You know, clearly we make a lot of money, but I don't think that. I don't think the image of us being is not carrying. You know, Eric Davis right now is in the background playing with Lenny Webster's kid as we speak. So he's been here all day. But that's really just how we are as a team. You know, it is sort of like a family.
You returned to the Baltimore lineup on September 15th, 3 months and 2 days after they cut out your cancer. Tell us about that day.
It was special. When I woke up that morning, I didn't even eat breakfast. My wife wanted me to eat breakfast, but I couldn't. I was too antsy. You know, it was like my first day in the big leagues again. And I was all right until I stepped out on the field to warm up, and I warmed up with Rafael Palmeiro, and he's the one that really got the crowd hyped, and they just started cheering. And you know, once I ran out to the field, they got louder and louder, and when I came up to bat, it was just unbearable. The reception that I got, I can't really explain it. That's one in a million or one in a lifetime type of things that happen. And me tipping my hat was just a way of showing gratitude to the warmth that they showed me.
Talk about the support of the fans and what that's meant to you.
I don't have enough time because for me to talk about the fans, this organization, Mr. Angelos, my coaching staff, my teammates, I don't have enough time. We'd have to do like 3 shows for me to really get into everything on really how I felt about the way I was treated from spring training up until the present. It's just been unbelievable.
The Orioles, in the middle of your illness, picked up your option. Said we're going to pay him another couple of $1 million for next year when they had no assurance whatsoever you'd ever play the game again.
Well, evidently Mr. Angelos knew something. He knew what kind of fighter I was, I guess. And he knew that I would do everything that I could to get back. I mean, I can't thank him enough.
Some of your teammates say that your courage, what you have done to get back into the game, has been a tremendous inspiration to them.
Well, I think so, but I think also I draw from them drawing from me. I haven't done nothing out of the ordinary. That's what I try to get people to understand. I haven't done nothing out of the ordinary. I was able to rehabilitate and feel fine, and by me being able to get back on the field, this is what I do.
Give it here. Nice going, kid. It's a way to swing that bat, baby.
Of returning to the Orioles this year, did that help your recovery?
No, because I didn't prepare myself to come back. It wasn't a guarantee that I had to come back. You know, I told myself I'm going to work out. If I feel fine, if I can do it, I'll come back. But I told the doctors I'll be the first one to tell you if I can't do it, I won't come back.
Did it at least help as a goal, as a target, something to aim for? Or was it just...
I didn't need a target. I didn't set a target date, you know, because I didn't want to rush to get to that point and then find out that I wasn't there, you know. Then that might have crushed me, you know, because I would have did all this and worked my tail off to get to a point and then find out I can't do it.
Then, suddenly, in the middle of your recovery, your brother Jimmy dies of a heart attack. On top of everything else that you'd faced this year, how did you deal with that?
Through strength. From the big man up top. I mean, it's a tragedy, sure. And I love my brother dearly. But I don't look at him as a loss because I had 35 years with him. You know, so I cherish the times that I had with him instead of relishing on the times that I don't.
Where does this come from, this incredibly positive view of the world? Where's that come from?
Well, God gives me strength. You know, I've always been a positive person. I've always looked for other alternative to negativity. You know, even though people say you're not doing this, I was like, okay, well, but I'm doing this. You know, my mom is real positive. My father's real positive. You know, I was just born with it.
I think I know the answer to this, but did you ever think, why me? Why am I getting all of these things?
No, because contrary to that, you can ask, why not? You know, why not me? Why does it all have to be someone else? You know, I've been blessed throughout my whole family for years. This is the first real tragedy we've ever had. You know, and there's people out here that have tragedy every day. You know, people have lost their mother and father in 2-week periods. You know, so why not me? I look at it as hey, this is something that's real. If you're born, you're gonna die. You know, no one's gonna be here forever. You just hope that when you do, you're old and gray.
What may have helped prepare Davis for this tumultuous season was that after a series of injuries, he decided to retire back in 1994. He came to realize how lucky he was to be a professional athlete. So he came back to baseball.
Well, once you step away from that and find out that you're not going to work and people look at you differently because you're not that athlete again, it put it in perspective for me. And when I said if I ever go back, you know, that I wouldn't take it for granted, they would have to take the uniform off me because of how blessed we truly are to be able to do what we do.
And so even though You went through cancer, and as you say, the terrible loss of your brother. Baseball still stayed as special for you?
Well, it's always going to be special because this is what I do. You know, I've been a professional baseball player since 1980, and this is what I do. When I came back from rehab, I just went back to work, and it just happened that my job allows me to be on TV, to be in the newspaper and so forth, but, you know, I'm just going back to work as usual.
What have you learned these last few months?
The thing that I've really learned and really enjoyed is that our society isn't as bad as it's proclaimed to be. You know, there's still a lot of good people that outweigh the bad people in this country, and whether you're black or white, you know, we still care about each other, and that we can unite, and you know, we can be for each other, not like the media or certain people proclaim it to be black and white, which there might be symbols of that. But I've learned that there's more good people here than bad people.
Are you going to beat the Indians?
Absolutely.
Are you going to beat the cancer?
Absolutely.
Second ball game. Game 2 belongs.
After last night's 5-4 loss to the Cleveland Indians, Eric Davis went directly from Camden Yards to the hospital for an early chemotherapy treatment. He wants to be ready to play in tomorrow's game in Cleveland.
News. Good night.
If you'd like a transcript or video cassette of this or any other edition of Nightline, please dial 1-800-CALL-ABC.